Hello, Country Changers. Welcome to the feature month of Wagga Wagga City. I'm joined by Sally Lean, who is a Wagga returner, we call them, meaning she returned to the region after some time away. She's also part of Wagga Committee for Wagga, and also has her own business. Welcome, Sally.
Hi, Letitia. Thanks for the welcome. Yeah, great to be here.
So, Sally, tell us a little bit about what brought you back to Wagga and what I know you've got a couple of little businesses or a couple of little hats that you wear.
Yeah, sure. So I do have the privilege of working with a committee for Wagga part-time, and that's been a great way to get out of the house and meet people. When you work online, that can be challenging sometimes. But I also have my own business, so I provide leadership coaching for teenagers and also communication support for parents with teens. And I also am a speaker, so I do public speaking as well. And yeah, working with Committee for Wagga came about because I was looking to get out of the house. I'd had sort of 3 years mostly working from home and was like, how do I meet people? And I saw an ad just randomly on LinkedIn and I thought, oh, that sounds actually quite interesting and a great way to meet people. So I applied and I started working with Scott and Michelle, the executive team with Committee for Wagga, and it's a bit like a chamber of commerce or a chamber, business chamber like that, except it's community focused. And I love the work that they do, and I've gotten to meet some really great people in and around Wagga. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad your dad's okay. As you said, there's some great medical services in and around Wagga. And just while we're talking about sort of the location and facilities, I've just brought up the map. And as you can see, Wagga's about a 5.5 hour drive from Sydney, 2.5 to Canberra, and depending where in Wagga, about sort of 4.5, 5 to Melbourne, again, depending on where you're going and when. And that's one of the highlights of, or the benefits of living in regional. If you're driving from one regional area to another, you know how long it's going to take you versus the city where you've always got to allow an extra buffer because you don't know what traffic's going to be like. But obviously, from its position, Wagga allows, because it is a transport hub, there's a lot of industry, a lot of development going in.
I know that we have, it's sort of the industrial area out at Bowman, just on the outskirts of Wagga, massive work going on out there, expansion. There's also, it's the activation precinct. So there's so much going on in terms of the expansion of things that are happening. Also, as you mentioned, with the three, we've got, well, the RAAF base and the Army base out at Kapuka for training there. We also have a lot of veterans who've settled in this area. So, one of the big things that's been happening recently for veterans is that a health and a treatment centre has been established called Propatria on the site that used to belong to the Carmelite nuns, just in Ashmont, one of the suburbs of Wagga. And there's been a lot of private funding, locals helping locals coming together to support that development. And then also now, more recently, some government money and support for that as well. So we've been really fortunate. And there's really thousands and thousands of veterans in this region, so a very much needed facility that's happened there. But again, just an example of community coming together, right? Years ago, the cancer centre was established. The government said, we'll do one for one if you can find enough funding in the area. And the locals again pulled together and got the cancer treatment centre established so we can treat most, all except the childhood cancers here, which is fantastic. And we have people coming from all the regional towns to Wagga for that as well. Really, really fortunate. So, and then all the support things that happen around that as well. There's the Ronald McDonald House. There's Lilia Lodge is another one that's available for regional families who are coming into town for treatment. Medical, lots of work available in those fields as well. Yeah, just massive amounts of growth happening. So.
Yeah. And, as we said offline, so much change has happened in Wagga, even in the past 5 to 10 years. It really is a progressive little area, as is the whole Riverina Murray. But Wagga Wagga and Griffith being sort of regional cities, and obviously Albury, what that creates is the opportunity to attract funding, to attract major industry, private enterprise, government funding, which then obviously flows on to the outlying regions, towns and villages. So you don't even have to live in a regional city, but what that does bring with it is many opportunities, and lots of diversity, not just with the housing and jobs, but also cultures and languages. Was there anything else that you wanted to share on that? I might also bring up the country change page so people can have a look at that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the cost of living is so much cheaper than, if you can get out of the city and live somewhere where there is good medical and we don't have to wait as long. There's still waits for the doctors around here, but it's not as long as the city. Getting into specialists is much more, much faster than when they have huge wait lists in the city. Just the livability, I 22 years in Asia, and I've got to say I so appreciate the space, the fresh air. Even if it does mean a bit of hay fever in the spring. I would rather that than living in sort of polluted, smoggy cities. So we're really, really lucky. And I just, I adore the just the scenery, driving back from the airport in Sydney was always a favorite of mine because you just get to see that sort of Australian landscape unfold in front of you. And I've
Yeah.
always missed it when I'm overseas.
And
So
and also, you one of the benefits of Wagga is that it's very connected from a transport option.
Mm.
So you
Yeah,
do have the regional airport, which flies to all the major cities, which then obviously you can connect internationally, or you can drive, you can catch the train to Melbourne, Sydney, and other locations, as well as there's buses connecting to those cities as well as the regional towns, um, taxis, all of those kinds of things that people would expect in a city. You're not cut off, which I think is really important for people to understand.
yeah,
Um, if people want to find out more about Wagga, they can go to the Country Change page, head up to Our Places, click on Wagga Wagga City, and you can even jump onto Jobs Riverina Murray, which highlights some of the jobs that are going in Wagga and the surrounding regions, and
yeah.
has a huge amount of opportunities there. Um,
Education is also, there's a lot of quality education options available here, which is amazing for, a regional city. Education being my background. So yeah, there's a lot of different options available for families here that people may not be aware of. Yeah, and even one of our high schools is also selective, or at least partially selective. They have an amazing drama and music program available there. So, yeah, there's incredible, and that with the university, there's TAFE.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
really lucky.
Obviously, the rural clinic school, and allied health service sector is really growing, and like so many other areas across the country, they really are screaming out for more people across a diversity of skills. So if you are looking for a country change, you want a job, you want to start your own business, you want more space, you want to be able to breathe and actually enjoy life, Wagga Wagga City is definitely a great option. Sally,
Stuck
was
in
there
traffic.
no traffic? Sally, was there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, just the a thriving community that's here. There's Wagga has a big heart, is what I found over the years. I was just at a fundraising ball the weekend before last for a little boy who has a rare cancer. And people were so giving. There's a lot of heart in this community, which you don't find in many other places anymore, unfortunately, or at least not the interconnectedness of it. There's still people with big hearts everywhere, but you know what I mean? Like that everyone is so connected and willing to help. And also the service clubs. There's a lot of service clubs. We have all the, Rotary Lions, all of those sort of ones, Country Women's Association. They really provide another way of connecting in and sort of, I guess, connecting with people, but also doing things that really benefit the community as well.
So thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, Sally. And for those who have watched the video to this point, as always, you can find out more on our website, countrychange.com.au. Read the stories, watch the videos. They're a great way to get a feel for the locations. You can even reach out directly to our team or the contacts on pages and ask the questions about, specifically about what you need and what you want. That's really important. So, Sally, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.